Hi there, Ed Rushman for Whitestone Journal. It's raining pretty good. I'm getting over being sick. This is not one of my better days, but I am trying to remember that in Philippians, Paul reminds us to be joyful in every circumstance. I'm not sure if I'll make it up to joy, but man, that guy was in a shipwreck. He was starved, beaten, stoned, and finally beheaded, and I believe he's in eternal joy now. I should be able to deal with this. But that's not what today's about. I was thinking about, I'm still working on a longer video, I mean not too long hopefully, but a longer video about how we're an expression of God and that we are essentially God's gift to us. The gift of life is not just the gift of a beating heart and all that, but you know, what we've, and for those in class, you know that we've talked about this a little bit, or I have. And I don't know, I hope this is meaningful for you to think of, because you know everybody is, life is a gift, and they say that, but then if we don't if we don't unwrap the gift and really think about it more, you know, it just becomes a cliche. It's like, oh, life is a gift. Well, you know what? Maybe it's not a gift I'm appreciating very much. When life is hard and it's, the weather's bad. I mean, it's good that the weather's like this because we need the rain. And it's creating snow. My son went up and snowboarded. He had a good time. But the snow stores the water, and then we get it back in the spring and summer when the snow's melting. And in a good year, you know, there's still snow in some places, even into the summer. Now, let's say that we really accept that, and we say, well, life is a gift that God gives to me. He gives me my identity. He gives me all the special things that make me who I am. The ways of relating to people, in my case, I think love of language, a lot of respect for the spoken word, a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for word. And I had to let that person go because that was the right thing to do. There we go. You know, and things like that. You know, for me, I derive joy out of letting people into traffic because it's a bit of love and kindness that, you know, is boy, it sure is needed. But it gives me joy. Father Joe in the homily last Sunday said that the mayor is, I think he said, was wanting the city of Anaheim to be the city of kindness. And, you know, that's a lovely idea. And, you know, so there's a little bit of kindness as let people in traffic. For those of you that drive or start driving, really do try to show kindness to others. So in thinking about the idea that we are a gift that God gives to us, that we're an expression, really an artistic expression, a creative expression of God. He creates each one individually, each one, the uniqueness of each person as a sign of God's uniqueness, which is really just another way of saying that God is holy. God is set apart from everything else. Now, that implies that he's set apart by someone. Of course, that's not the case. But from our perspective, God is like no one else. And, you know, whether you believe or not or anything, I mean, at least think about that idea and the idea that we are each totally unique creations of God, and that he then takes that creation of his and entrusts it to each of us and as a free gift and says, now here you go, I gave you this, I know what you can do with it. Choose to do that or don't choose to do that, it's up to you, but I hope you'll choose right. And then we go off and we live and we mess up, and somewhere in all this we hopefully accept God's gift and use it to the greatest of our ability. And actually, if we used it to the greatest of our ability, we'd be saints and we'd be perfect, because the greatest is perfection. We're given that capability. We are actually capable, with God's grace, of living an absolutely amazing life, whatever our circumstances. Again, St. Paul did that. I mean, you know, and lots of the saints grew up in very bad circumstances, and yet were joyful and very effective. But going back to that, how does that fit in with community? How does this fit in with the idea of church? Because okay, God gives me the gift of myself. I can go off and use it. I do it by myself, and maybe I have a good life, maybe I don't, but it's my own thing, and it's not. He doesn't give me anybody else's gift. He doesn't require me to give myself, to anyone else the way that I could give it to him, or that I'm given to myself. The beauty of it is that it's also true. Okay, so what's true on the small sense is generally true in the larger sense. Countries have a lot of the same problems that individuals do. Countries can be selfish, they can be angry, they can be a lot of things. They can be racist. They can be a lot of things, and that individuals are. And in the old days, kings, very often the country took on the character of the king to some degree. At least that's the way it looks to me. There's a thing called a Mandelbrot set and Fibonacci series, things like that. And if you look at some of the art around that, the idea is that the same thing is that small is reproduced large, and it makes the same pattern. You can look that up and up. I don't know. It was a big deal when I was younger to do these on computers. We look at this, and what God has given to us is ourselves, but then he's also given us the entire world. And the entire world is made up of a lot of parts. I mean, there's not just us, other people, but also the animals and the plants and all these, and rocks, and all these are given to us as a gift. And not only are we given to ourselves, but we're also given to each other, and we're given the whole world. It's everything all together. And so it's this massive gift made up of all these parts. And when we interact with others, truly being ourselves, being ourselves is a gift, not just to ourselves, it's a gift to others, and it's a gift back to God. When we are ourselves, we say to God, I accept what you have given me, and I rejoice in it, and I'm going to live that because I love it and I appreciate it. And when we say, I love the gift you've given me, we're saying that we love ourselves. Because if we are happy with that gift, if we accept that gift and we live it out, even with difficulty, if we live it out, then in a sense we are loving the gift, and we are the gift. And then we go out and we love others, and we go to other people and we say, look, I see you being yourself, and I don't fully understand it. Sometimes I'm confused by who you are, but God made you, and I love you, and because of that, I love you, and I appreciate the gift that you are. And maybe they're not totally being themselves, and then in our loving of them, we call them out to be themselves. We encourage them. I mean, that's what I try to do with you. But in a way, I had to start by seeing the gift that God gave me by giving me. Does that make sense? So our interaction with others then becomes a matter of respecting and loving the gift that God has put into the world in others, just as we respect the gift that God has put into the world in us. And in our case, for Catholics, for those that follow Christ, it becomes a matter of doing that in a formal way, by accepting the grace of God and embracing each other more thoroughly, and modeling in the church what we would like to see in the whole world. I mean, ideally, we do believe that everybody is called to this. And so the thing is that when you do that, then there becomes the possibility of the gifts that each of us is. I had to get my terms right there. The gift that each of us is, having that interact, so that we combine our gifts together to create things that are good. We combine our gifts together to serve the poor, to serve each other, to love, to create peace in the world, to not always to do things for those that are impoverished and sick and ill and dying, and which are obviously the things that everybody, not everybody, a lot of us agree are really good, but also to serve those that are in the same position as us. We serve one another not because the other person is weak and incapable, but for the sheer joy of serving, for the sheer joy of doing things for each other. And it's not reciprocity. It's not that we're doing these things in return for something else. It's a free giving of ourselves to each other, for the sheer joy of experiencing another, for the sheer joy of knowing that we're giving, and this is really important, and that others can experience us. And I really wish you could see this, that let others enjoy you. And that sounds so crazy. I know to some people, you say, well, no one's going to enjoy me. But you're a gift of God. I mean, it's entirely, not just possible, but it's entirely likely that somebody will. There are people in the class that I know really struggle. And if I say something in class that strikes them funny and they laugh a little bit, or if they nod or something and I realize it's something I did, because I'm just being myself in there. If one of the people in the class, if one of you or someone watching this gets something, then my gift has been received. The gift of myself that God gave me and I have passed on has been received. But the other thing is that when you respond, that response, I believe in many cases, if not always, is from you. The response is an expression of who you are, and I delight in that. That is a place where you being you is incredibly exciting and incredibly wonderful for me. So it's when I see you come out beyond the fears, beyond the pain, beyond all the hurt, beyond all the ways that you're afraid to be yourself, that you break through for just a moment and you laugh a little bit, or you nod, or you or sometimes say something or ask a question, which is lovely. But those are incredible for me. And to see a person being themselves is just the most incredible experience for me. I just love it. So how do we relate to one another with this idea of gift of self? And the idea is that it means that we love one another and that we share the gift. And in the sharing, there's greater joy. There's greater joy together than there is individually. And the individual joy has to be there. We have to be not just content, but joyful. We have to be in full acceptance, as soon as we can, in just the most full acceptance of ourselves as created by God. Not our fears. You can accept that we have them. That's what we have to do. We have to start by saying, this is the way it is. Start by saying, I'm afraid to be myself. And then come to the realization that, God has given me gifts. I don't fully understand them yet. He has given me the greatest gift, is the gift of self. I have free will. I have intellect. I have certain physical gifts. I have certain mental gifts. I have certain spiritual gifts. And maybe emotional gifts. There was a movie, Inside Out, and some people hate it. Some people love it. I liked it. But the idea that her sadness was not some part of her to be ignored or gotten rid of or anything, but it was an intrinsic part of her. That her sadness called forth the best in others at times. All of us, it's entirely possible as you come to know yourself to regard some gift of God as a curse, or to regard some gift of God as a defect to be fixed, and then realize, wait a minute, no, this actually is a gift. And that's certainly true for me. I don't fully understand everything yet, but there's time. So maybe more on this later. Anyway, I hope that's useful to somebody, and Anyway, Ed Rushman, Whitestone Journal.